Man, I had a monologue and everything, but I think I'm going to leave it alone and just read some poetry. This is called fattening frogs for king snakes. It's a term among black people the way you deceive the masses, in other words, so that you can use them. And I find this happening a lot in America. And it begins with a quote by Anne Waldman, who is a beat poet, one of my favorite poets. Oh. It was the voice of a desultory fragment of speech now, talking about state and union, how darkness turns at the wrist. You, who were finally deceived to believe in anything. Oh, the voice of God. You, who were finally deceived to believe in anything, the continuance of your ignorance, the focus of their governing, the audacity of hope, now ant-like rhetoric of vision, bath salt dope and flesh-eating junkies, expedient authority in the interest of national security. NSA data mines are the legislated evil that rapes freedom, but where is the voice that questions authority? Why enduring war? Why oil-drenched, grasping bloody hands? Why biting off more than I can chew when my share is disparate to yours? Why the child skittled by devil hate? Why 6 women juries acquitting the watchman? Why standard operating procedure as protocol? Why healthy dialogue or nonviolent dissent, as opposed to fuck the police and the 502? And you never asking, where am I being led? Only one small begging voice in the muzzled choir singing, Mary, don't you weep. Oh, Chicken Little, dodging, the sky is falling. Oh, the fallen towers of stormy Monday blues, counterclockwise documenting the homicidal hypocrisies in our tiny capitulation. And cubicled in a corporate capitalist Walmart parking lot, the pedestal too high, and we're so afraid of heights as we hold our spoonful of truth to be self-evident that it's not all our fault, that is never quite enough. This one always hides from me. Oh, there you are, baby girl. Yeah, I was talking to my muse this morning, and all she had to say was, danger, Will Robinson, danger. Yeah. This is for all the women in my life who actually taught me how to be a strong man. This is called Eve number 2, and it's dedicated to the second poet laureate of Davis, California. Her name is Eve West Bessier, and she's a life coach. She's a phenomenal woman. Eve was the color that surprised him after the Mississippi red dirt and debris of Adam, after the aggressive indigo to ephemeral foam of ocean, the azure forever and ever dome of sky. Eve, all phoenix fire red and golden immolation, daylight risen from the mutiny of Lilith, her willfulness, the first person of disobedience. My apple, because I
Kevin 243. Kevin. Yeah.
funny how I read poems sometime, and a poem that's similar comes to me in the same form. And I read this poem once, and for the life of me, I can't remember the name of it or the name of the poet, but the poem spoke about how a woman feels when she's raped and the lingering effects after. And I took that poem and put it together in the same form. Same number of stanzas, same breaks in the same place, but same number of words in each line, but a different meaning. This one is called Comeuppance, the Self-Serving. No pain of death measures up to one been stripped of dignity, to one been discriminated against, said the black man lynched cynically. I used to bring my children here, post Amber Alert. But how do you read the flashing sign on the freeway if you're on your cell phone? Asked the tortured and raped 8-year-old with a smirk. The definition of a fool. You did not have the courage or common sense to take a stand against the Patriot Act. Realized the frequent flyer sales rep who was dragged from the plane and arrested for texting a Muslim.
Oh my goodness.
I guess this one has to do mostly with how we have a tendency to lie to our children and how it actually puts them at harm. And we think we're doing it to protect them, when instead of it's hard, like your child comes up and asks you about sex, and you're scared because you think they're all adult terms, because generation after generation has taught the upcoming children, oh, you have to protect the children, you can't. We should tell them the truth. I mean, if you want to get biological about it or however, but you have to tell them the truth, because the children today especially, if the parent doesn't teach them, they're going to go out there and there's a million people who will teach them, and a lot of people will teach them in a way that is to their own self-serving benefit. So, and this one, it started, I read an article about, I guess the kid that actually started us putting children on our milk cartons. And
Christian 248.
To this day, they haven't really, they thought, what was it, about 2 years ago, they found
Michelle C. or
remains.
MOD to the front, please. Michelle C. or MOD to the front.
They thought they found the remains of his body, and they arrested someone, but it's still murky as to what happened to him, who did it, or whatever. This is called Eyes Shut Wide, in response to every cowardly, self-serving American poet who has taken a hands-off approach to every disturbing reality. Maybe I should write a poem about the 12-year-old who committed suicide, the future cure for democracy, now muted silence, hanging from a rafter in his bedroom of America, while blue blood silver spoons tucked in tight and sweet buzzed on prescription meds, despite its open season on them who are the least of those among us. Maybe I should write a poem about Ethan Patz, the 6-year-old who vanished on the first day he was allowed to walk to school alone, and became among the first vanished children to appear on a milk carton. Maybe that would bring some level of closure to the parents. Unlike poets contemplating rays of sunlight illuminating window blinds as they explicate the landscape of their lovers' sighs, out of sync with the precarious tilt of American life, or the county dump seagull, squawking away, persisting at the meager hint of a crumb among scraps of technology, concrete, and millions of plastic bottles, his whole life spent never having seen the sea, weaned on the fossil fuel of mammoth dozers, sifting human waste that reeks of gimme more and not so much, we've taken more than everything we need, or innocence that teaches what it feels like to be used, a beggar's empty cup, the sweet dreams made of anything that gets us seen and flocked.
Kristen 246, please. Kristen 246.
And flocked, despite the dangling noose in every tree, like the polluted air of thorns we breathe. Maybe I should write a poem about 5-year-old Ella, who imagines my fixie bike as an erring heirloom chained to a tree, colorful and chrome bright, or 7-year-old W. James, who can only envision a game of marbles as a kaleidoscope of stars, their flash and sparkle of pinball chance colliding inside a circular galaxy, inside a circumference of plausible deniability that children just can't see. Their tiny hands clasped in optimistic prayers of make-believe salvation. Children filling soon darkening spaces with imagination, with the meaningless plea, now I lay me down to sleep. I have one short one. I wasn't sure how long I was supposed to be up here, and let me see, where is it? Oh yeah. This is called Fade to Black. This is my book, just published by Transcendent Zero Press. That's the editor, Dustin Pickering back there. Thank you, Dustin. But if you decide you want to buy this book, mostly what I want you to read it, because I tried to write it in a way where none of my views, beliefs, or thought would be imposed on you. You read this book, you make up your own mind, because each of you have to live with yourself, because like they say, it was us all along, the they that was them. So this one's called Fade to Black. I come from a place where people are judged by what we see, the gap between words, the innuendo after ellipse, what they got or ain't got, who someone said they were, instead of whom they really are, where inhumane justification punctuates human nature, ever plagued by the shadows of regret, by corporate caste creeping across the mind, as intolerance fingers the deadbolt securing the door of tribe mentality. Fear by assumption ripples across the face in those first impression moments, securing the eventuality of deferred dreams, foreshadowed like a cubist menagerie run amok, a vertical line of dignity obscured by shame, a horizontal slash of despair splashed bloody over an obtuse angle of blind hope. And minds are forged, molten to annealed, to harden or obliterated into a brief dark night of remaining days, into decaying increments of sustained silence suspended like a season of strange fruit. Thank you very much.